Start looking at the deleting. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Steve Zubik, Director of Transportation and Infrastructure, will present the 2024 to 2027 TIP development draft overview.
Awesome. So Steven Zubik, that's me. Thank you as always for having me. Love coming and talking to the CAB. Always happy to have that interaction, kind of get that voice and that information out to you guys. Also as always, please interrupt me, raise your hand, speak up at any point if there's something that needs extra clarification, that's maybe confusing. I don't want anything to be missed. I don't want anybody to kind of come out of here without understanding what I'm trying to present. So as was mentioned, and the document that you guys saw coming in, we're in a process now of developing our transportation improvement program. What this is generally, Eastgate as an MPO, we're required to put this document together. That's essentially a collection of all of the federally funded projects in Mahoning and Trumbull County. There's kind of three different ways throughout that document that they get identified. One is towards the back end, ODOT, Ohio Department of Transportation. They have projects that can go into groups. Think of these as your simple projects, stuff that's going along interstate, state routes, that are guardrail implementations, that are countywide striping plans, signage plans. Not really anything that's affecting just your general maintenance. Those projects get lumped together, go in kind of the back of the document, go in that way. A second one, and I'll show a few maps off in a second, are the transit projects. Murda from our office, Murda Rich Chapman, she's our transit coordinator. She does all of the kind of transit project development within our agency. Working with our transit partners. They're also receiving federal funds. So it's identifying those projects in the document that way. And then the last one is the one that really falls more so onto me in my role here at Eastgate. It's early on in the document is projects that kind of come through Eastgate. Joey here, I'll introduce him shortly. He's going to show off a map for you guys that shows all of these projects. Those are ones that come through our office, or applications that are received from our communities, that could be recommendations from you guys, from the citizens, from the engineers, planners, mayors. Receive those funding sources, receive those dollars, and then get on to so a little bit about where we are in this TIP development. We are required to do this document every 2 years. There was a slight delay due to COVID. The last one was in 2020. 1 year skip got us back on the schedule. We're in 2023, but expect to see another one in 2 years. So this is an extensive process of development, a lot of reviews, a lot of project, dollar amounts, years being shuffled around. We're right now in this public involvement period. This began back on March 20th, with Justin's correspondence, Eric from our office, the emails, our social media. This was announced prior to March 20th. Hey, here we go. We're in this public involvement period. Here's the document comment form. Please let us know what you see, what you're thinking. Today, April 6th, we had our public involvement meeting from 3 to 6 right before this. You had a few different citizens show up and provide comment on the maps, on the document, on kind of what they're seeing in Mahoning and Trumbull County. Certainly, there's always availability, beyond this March 20th to April 7th window. As Eastgate, as the planning organization, we want everybody's comments all the time. The only difference is with this window, those will be addressed within the physical document that is submitted on May 1st. The only difference doesn't mean on April 8th you can't come and provide a comment. It still operates the same way. With that, still some type of review after May 1st. And then to July 1st is when this document, us as an MPO, and then in coordination with all the other MPOs across the state, is officially approved. And now these projects are identified, ready to go and move to the next step. So here is a map, again, Joe, you'll go over it and kind of show you guys off the interactive map where you can see in a little bit more detail. But this is that last group of projects that I mentioned that goes through Eastgate, goes through myself. All of our communities are the county engineers, cities, township, villages. This is what they've applied for. This is for 2024 through 2027. So starting in July and then running for the next 4 years. These are all the projects that we're funding with Eastgate's MPO dollars that are allocated to us to spend and distribute to these communities in Mahoning and Trumbull County, as wisely as possible.
And MPO means?
Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Oh, MPO.
Yes. So if anybody's not aware, Eastgate as an MPO, every city with an urbanized area, which you can see on the map a little bit, it's in the document. It's kind of your main core with a little bit of sprawl out to that. Above a population of 200,000 has an MPO. So has that planning organization that takes in these funds, distributes the funds, does what Justin will talk about, delivers an MTP, a Metropolitan Transportation Plan, plus a laundry list of other things. But as Youngstown, in the Youngstown urbanized area, being over 200,000 in population, that's why Eastgate is here. That's why you are all here as a part of Eastgate. So in this 4-year listing, there's 46 projects totaling about $143 million. There's quite a process for these projects to be identified on this map, and then ultimately to be implemented, to have the orange barrels, to have the roads tore up, as you see right outside our office today. Again, there's lots of time for feedback, for recommendations from the citizens, from the council members, community members. Project idea comes about. First step is a project idea submittal to our Metropolitan Transportation Plan. This goes, and again, Justin will touch on this a little bit more. You guys have heard about it. This goes all the way out to 2050. So that's an extensive time period, but it's our best guess as to what projects want to be done over the next now 27 years. From there, that collection of project ideas, now the communities submit an actual application during funding cycles for some of these funding sources. Submit an application, go through scoring, some are more competitive than others, ultimately ending up on a recommended list from myself or other members of Eastgate that then gets run by our technical advisory committee, you guys as our CAB, and then ultimately our general policy board. At that point, that's where we end up where we are today. So it's kind of important to mention that there's quite a process there, from just a project idea to ultimately being a line on the map here, and then physical construction on the site. So I touched a little bit about the transit projects and the transit element. Just wanted to show off 2 of these charts there, 2 of the tables that are showing some of these funding sources, WRTA, Western Reserve Transit Authority. The routes are back there on a larger map, but kind of showing off their routes, projects, and what they're doing with their federal partners and how it affects different parts of the region. So 2 different maps there split between Mahoning and Trumbull. Again, this chapter of the Transportation Improvement Program is really collected and completed by Myrta from our office. She's always happy to talk about it, always willing to discuss in any measure you want. If there's any follow-up here, Justin or myself will get any thoughts or comments there. So another part of what we do is, you see going back here, these 46 projects, $143 million. that affects everybody. That's making it more difficult to get from point A to point B. Maybe there's avenues of, well, now I can't get to where I need to go. Now I can't get there at the right time. How is this not only affecting the whole population, but in a specific subset? We look at how this affects our minority population, our low income population. So this is part of our environmental justice chapter of the tip. And what you see here is minority rates in the poverty rate. That's for our 2-county area. That's Trumbull and Mahoning County, and that's what the percentage is amongst that whole population. What we do here and what you see on the map is all of these little boxes, the little blocks, different map, some colored in, some not. We look at just that level, look at that population, and now see what's your minority rate and what's your poverty rate for that section. If it's higher than the 2-county section, we take a special look at these projects that are affected, that are affecting those census tracts. So anything you see here in the yellow are census tracts that have a high percentage of minorities compared to our 2-county area. Anything you see in the orange are census tracts that have a high percentage of low income individuals in our 2-county area. And then the brownish color is a combination of both. So we overlay all of our projects, all 46 projects, overlay them on the map, overlay them with these census tracts, and you can see it in the document. Excuse me, you can see it in the document. It's difficult to show on the screen because it's kind of some smaller text. But we look at what types of impacts, positively and negatively, might it have on the people in these areas. Is it making things less accessible? Is it making things less safe? Is it making things less envious to kind of live in the area? A bunch of different factors. We kind of go through a process to review that. Really important aspect of everything we do and really everything we're focusing on at Eastgate. Taking that one step further, not a requirement, but something we choose to do is look at 2 other levels in the same manner. We're looking at on the left side, a significant level of limited English proficiency. Across the 2 counties, only 1.6% speak English less than very well, but any of those green boxes are concentrations where that number is higher than 1.6%. So again, there's projects going on, various projects, sidewalks, roadway, bridges, all the above. Are we making sure that that information is getting out there, that knowledge is getting out there? We don't want to make it more difficult for anybody. Right side is taking a look at members of our 2-county area that have a significant disability. Of the population in the 2 counties, 16.3% of the population are considered to have a significant disability. So those purple areas, those purple census tracts, that's where that number is higher than 16.3%. So again, looking at all of our projects, overlaying it on the map, what's affecting the people in these areas? We talk about accessibility, safety, congestion, all the above. Let's make sure that stuff's not happening, as a planning organization, we're not doing things that are negatively affecting them, affecting these groups, or if they're positively affecting them, make sure that people are aware of it. Make sure that the changes that are coming to make things better, make sure everybody knows. So really, in a nutshell, that's the Transportation Improvement Program document that you guys have. I'll show you on our website where that's available. I think it's easier to read one way. Someone else thinks it's easier to read another way. So certainly options here to have a physical copy or to have the draft document on our website. So as always, eastgatecog.org. Right at the top, hover over the programs tab, hover over transportation, and then your third option down, Transportation Improvement Program. So now going here, here's general information about what I talked about today. 3 buttons that you can, first button, view that final draft, which is what's printed out available on the side table, houses all of these beautiful maps that Jeff from our office always throws together. Joey, again, I'll introduce him, but had a lot of assistance in creating those. Second button is our comment form. Copies of the comment form over there. Feel free to take one to provide a comment. Can drop it off, can hand it off, use the box, mail it, email it, any which way. Make a phone call and make a comment verbally that way. And then the final button, which is where, I get to where a lot of what Joey's done here and assisted in, and this is what I referenced earlier as far as our interactive map. This is the maps that I showed before. The first one showing the projects and where they overlaid on the 2-county area and allow you to see more detail. So Joey's been with us since July. He is our GIS intern. Currently attending Youngstown State University, looking for a geography major, and don't want to take all your thunder, so go ahead and again, feel free to jump in at any point if there's something that you'd like to see, that you'd like either of us to clarify. Want this to be able to be kind of as informational for you guys as possible.
Yeah, so this is the interactive map that we have on our website. As you zoom in and out, you can see the different projects the TIP projects that we have. There are different aspects of the interactive map. So the top, I guess, pane, there are different filters you can choose. So you can filter by the sponsor. So say I wanted to see just the City of Youngstown sponsors. You click the City of Youngstown and it only shows the City of Youngstown projects. Say I wanted to filter it by the construction year, you do the exact same thing, filter it by the year. It only shows the year that you have selected. So this one's 2025, it only shows the TIP projects of 2025. After that is the main funding source. So we have actually quite a bit under this one. So just STGB as an example only shows STGB. You can click on each project and a little box pops up with more information about each one. Then over here, click out. You can scroll through all the projects, see more information about that. So say I wanted to see King Graves Road. It shows King Graves Road over here. Another information box pops up. You can see total cost per year, the construction year, sponsor, description, and location. Make sure you click out of that if you want to see the rest again. And then after, if you wanted to go back to see all of the projects, you have to click reset. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the construction year. There's a little table that breaks it down by construction year. So 2024 has 10, 25, 16, 26, 10, and then 27, 6. There's a little graph down here that shows the amount each year. So obviously 2026 is the biggest year. This little, I guess, graphic shows as you zoom in, let's say I just wanted to see this one project here. You can see it goes down just to 541,000 or 551,000. The little home button brings you back to where everything is. And for some reason, it does not include Kinson. So you have to zoom out a little bit to see that. That's about it. Over here, you can see the sponsors, how many each sponsor has. So Trumbull County Engineer has 16. You click that, it shows all the Trumbull County Engineer ones. And then this last box here is the main funding source broken down into a pie chart. So surface transportation, local major high cost bridge, county bridge, transportation alternatives set aside. More ways to break it down. Again, it just shows those specific ones. So that's about it. Again, that's found on Eastgate's website. So if you go back to our website, same set of instructions that Steven showed. You go to programs, transportation, TIP, and then it's the third button here. So click on it, it'll open it right up, bring you right essentially to the whole project.
And the cool thing about it, and if you noticed on the bottom charts when Joey was going through it and clicking different filters or project information, those are constantly updating based on what you filter out. So if you're filtering out by a community and you only choose, Trumbull County engineer sponsored projects, you'll see those charts on the bottom and the different funding sources just based on those to kind of see what's going on and what's being spent. So as always, a lot of information, a lot of unique information. Hopefully I was able to kind of portray everything that's part of the document. If there's ever questions now, next week, next month, whenever it is, all of us are always here to help and assist. So, I appreciate the time and the ability to present. And again, comment forms are over there. We appreciate comments, positive or negative. They're all beneficial towards, the completion of the document and ultimately to serve our goal of making our area better. It's really what we're all in it for. So again, thank you. If there's anything else, I'm here. We're sticking around. Appreciate it.
That's it?
Thank you, Steve.
If you want more, I
No,
can
I
certainly
know
done.
there's a, this is extend with the speakers.
Hello, it's Pete Milliken. Can you hear me
Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you.
on the phone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to try to be very brief. I sent you some comments on the transportation improvement plan by email, and I assume you received those. I'm not going to rehash everything I said, but I'm going to just hit a couple of the high spots here. The Glenwood Avenue Road Diet and Bike Lane Installation Project is a good idea that's going to make one of Boardman's main thoroughfares more bicycle friendly. However, I believe that endangering cyclists in the proposed Wildwood Drive roundabout defeats the purpose of the bike lanes. So let's get rid of the roundabout, which endangers cyclists and pedestrians. Then the other thing is the transportation improvement plan draft needs a thorough proofreading. I made a couple of observations there. I won't go into detail on that. Now, a procedural issue here. Today's public comment meeting, I think, should have occurred earlier in the comment period. Now, I think now the comment period should be extended 1 week because this tip is a huge document. It's 93 pages. So what I'm saying is that anyone seeing it for the first time today would not have reasonable time to prepare complete comments on it before tomorrow's deadline. And then I'm going to just end with a question here. What became of the Market Street reconstruction project in Boardman?
So it's kind of a lot to digest there. Certainly appreciate those comments. Yes, we did receive them. Those are filed away in our kind of internal comment section for the tip draft for the final document. So you'll receive notification on kind of responses to all of your comments, questions, just kind of covering that in general. I don't know what the Market Street project is specifically that you're referencing. I can say in regards to Glenwood and, kind of the way that all of these projects happen, there's an extensive period of kind of planning, project ideas, working towards development, working towards, you see all these various funding sources and kind of implementations with Glenwood Avenue specifically. A lot goes into that. On Glenwood Avenue, on some of the larger projects, the more unique ones, there's typically a specific public involvement time period for those projects. This occurs during and an early stage of the design of the projects. Right outside of our office, the Youngstown Smart 2 network, I think we housed 3 separate public meetings, going into, before jumping into design, to get feedback, to hear what's missing, what are the designers missing, what are the different entities maybe missing. And, I talked about a little bit before in the beginning, that project's a perfect example of these public involvement meetings and what can come out of them. Rewind 5, 6, 7 years ago, all these streets downtown were just going to be resurfaced, maybe a little bit of sidewalk inclusion. through some public involvement, through some different engagements, we were able to add safer crosswalks. We were able to add bike lanes in areas. We were able to add multi-use paths in certain areas. Ultimately, we were able to add conduit for broadband access to buildings in the downtown area, all as outcomes of these public meetings. So as Glenwood moves forward, you see kind of the total costs in 2024 and 2025 in that box. Those early costs are starting to get into environmental design and final design of the project. That's when a public involvement period is going to occur. I can speak on this project being $8.9 million, being a lot of change, road diet aspect, bike lanes, roundabouts. Those are big changes. Those are kind of what I hinted at before. We don't want to negatively affect people. We don't want surprise inclusions or changes to the roadway. I can almost assure you there will be a extensive public involvement period and a public involvement meeting on this project. So a long-winded explanation, Pete, of there will be a perfect time to provide those comments directly to the Glenwood project. They still will be addressed by myself as Eastgate to your comments there. I will say in regards to the general comment of the public involvement period, there is quite an extensive schedule of all these different milestones that go into those 94 pages that were referenced. A lot of different players involved, a lot of different reviews, a lot of different data changing, funding applications. The guidelines from ODOT, USDOT, Federal Highway, show, if I go back to my presentation, they set the public involvement period up as it is. If you look from March 20th to April 7th, we're kind of looking at a 2 to 3 week window of public involvement. I know as Eastgate, we do as much as we can with public communication. We sent out all of this information at the beginning of this public involvement period. I understand the frustration of, hey, April 6th is when an actual open house occurs, and that's one day before the final. The dates just kind of lined up goofy to where we like to include that with our Citizens Advisory Board. We like to include all that information and those availabilities on that same day. We believe that's our best avenue of attracting more comment and attracting more individuals. That doesn't take away the ability to provide comment prior. It doesn't take away the ability to review the document prior. And again, as I mentioned before, just because these comments won't be addressed in the document doesn't mean a comment can't be submitted on April 10th. And even if something's submitted on April 10th and May 1st is when that final submittal is due, I bet there's a way that we can do something extra to get that addressed in the final document. Whether there becomes some special amendment to it. The last thing we want to do is say, no, sorry, you were a day late on a deadline for a public comment involvement period. We're not going to accept your public comment. What would we be doing as a planning organization if we denied that? So I understand that the frustration, there's a lot that goes into that, that there's a lot of deadlines, a lot of milestones to meet. It kind of ends up what it is. I will say the public open house that we housed from 3 to 6 today, there's no requirement for that. There's no requirements for a lot of what we do. But again, what would we be doing if we're not doing that extra step, trying to find out how to get responses better? So this open house is something that we're doing to try to attract a little bit extra. Find out more, come in and talk to us rather than reviewing it on your own. And then one last, I think the last comment to provide a response to that you mentioned, Pete, is the overall, proofreading of the document. I think that's a difficult assessment personally. 95% of what goes into it is information, documentation from Metropolitan Transportation Plan, projects that have been 4 or 5+ years into works. This isn't, it's not necessarily made up information from the last month or two. So as far as a proofread goes, there are ample set of eyes that review this document as requirements for us to be certified as an MPO, to continue to receive dollars, to continue to have you guys in this room. So I can attest to a thorough review from a lot of organizations that, all information and data is what's required, what's needed to be in there. It's more of a, this is what you need to provide, and this is what has to go in this, versus on Justin's end with the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, there's a little more flexibility as to, but here's what our thoughts are and creative strategies moving forward. I think that kind of sums up all those comments. Again, always enjoy comments, positive or negative. There's no wrong comment to be made, just like there's never a wrong question to be asked.
It looks like, Jacob, you've got your hand up on mine, so feel free to take it away.
Hello. So I'm not concerned with bike lanes, but you mentioned dedicated multi-use paths. And so my question is, where are we at with getting the Mahoning River Greenway that was proposed as part of the Mahoning River corridor plan, getting that over into actual transportation planning? And as an observation, that Mahoning River Greenway would serve those communities most in need, as you showed on your maps of lower income, minority, disability, and limited language. So I'm just kind of curious, like where we're at in getting that Mahoning River Greenway actually in the infrastructure planning phase.
Great question, Jacob, and I totally agree with a lot of what you're saying. In relation to the tip and what Stephen's been talking about today, he had mentioned that there's quite an extensive process to get a project included in this document or on these maps. The unfortunate thing about the Mahoning River Greenway is that you would need a project sponsor or lead agency to chase that in order for it to make it here. Kind of the good news on the other side is we have this opportunity through the Governor's Office of Appalachia in the state of Ohio, who has made $500 million available to the 32 Appalachian counties.
Who made that money available?
The Governor of Ohio, yeah. So there's an initiative from Eastgate called the Mahoning River of Opportunity. It's our lead project that we are chasing through that program, where we are able to utilize procured consultants at the state level to do project planning and preliminary engineering for transformative community projects that fall in 3 buckets of that program. They want to see downtown revitalization, some type of health component, and workforce development. The Mahoning River Trail certainly fulfills, particularly in our region, downtown revitalization, as the river runs through a lot of our communities' downtowns. You can absolutely make the case for healthcare. Workforce certainly connects to job centers and can be a accessible mode of transportation for people that do not have access to a vehicle or access to automobile transportation. So the long answer to your question is, unfortunately, not represented on Stephen's tip or through our transportation programs, because a community would need to bring that to us. And there's no community that is chasing transportation specific funds for that project at this time, at least that's been made aware to us. But we are working with all of our local communities to try and facilitate that project as best we can through the Appalachian Community Grant.
Thank you very much. So do you think there should be more pressure on like the county level for both Mahoning County and Trumbull County to treat these paths as part of transportation and try to get them to, should more advocacy be done on the county level to have them include that as part of their what they're pushing for transportation as well, in addition to the Appalachian Grant?
Yeah, one other thing I'll mention is, so Eastgate works with the Healthy Community Partnership of the Mahoning Valley, which is a program housed under the Community Foundation. They have a few different kind of action teams that they set up. One of those action teams is focused on active transportation, and they currently are seeking an active transportation coordinator for Mahoning and Trumbull counties that would do exactly this. That would interface with the public as well as community officials, provide education opportunities to folks that are in decision-making positions, and advocate on behalf of active transportation projects as a viable means of transportation and should be considered within the broader network of transportation options. So exactly what you're talking about, Jacob. As soon as that person is able to be onboarded in that position, I think we'll start to see some momentum. And that person will also help communities with programs like safe routes to schools and developing active transportation policies within their own communities. So we're optimistic for kind of the future of that program and what we could see come out of our local communities through that initiative.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I know Sarah Lowry often attends these meetings as well. And I attend those meetings that she has with that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all that. Thank you so much for answering the question. I appreciate it.
Check that. The next would be just a brief overview of the last general policy meeting.
Yeah, so our last general policy board meeting would have been last month in March, first Monday of March. The presentation at that meeting was Jim Kinnick, who talked about the 2022 successes and the 2023 initiatives, which he presented to this group in January. So you got a 2-month preview of what he talked about to our general policy board. Obviously, the CAB and the TAC both presented their reports for the previous quarter. And that's really all the summary. That was a brief meeting. Yeah, real quick.
All right, you want to talk a little bit about today's TAC meeting?
Yes. So there's one thing that I'll go a little bit more in depth to, and then I'll run through real quickly a few of the other things that are talked about. Stephen had done a great job kind of prefacing this topic, and this is our 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Some of you may be familiar with this because we did some public engagement both in Youngstown and Warren at their main public libraries. And also, if you were here in February or online, you can participate in our interactive public engagement for this. So all of your responses and your comments are included in this document. And where we're at so far is at the draft stage. But first, I want to one more time cover some of the basics of what a metropolitan transportation plan is. I think I try to cover this every time I talk about it because it is, but it's also very complicated, filled with jargon, and it's like federal transportation language. Like there's a lot that goes into it, and I think it can be distilled down a little simpler. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see what does an MTP do. At a minimum, it looks at a 20-year planning horizon. So that's why we're looking out to the year 2050. It identifies long-range transportation goals and specific long and short-range investment strategies across all modes of transportation. So that's exactly what Stephen was talking about today, just on a much broader scale, because we are looking at that very long future of our transportation system. Supports regional land use and economic development policies and plans. This document really sets the stage for our yearly work programs. So as we come up with priorities and strategies, address new work topics and things that our staff takes on and the plans that we develop and release, this sets the stage for enabling us to do all of that. So if that's looking at electric vehicles, if that's looking at bike and pedestrian transportation, if that's looking at transit as a mode of investment, This is really what allows us to have that flexibility to look at a variety of topics and connect them all back to our transportation funding and our purpose as a metropolitan planning organization. Demonstrate fiscal constraint for all funded projects. So that's a very fancy way to say we will only receive a certain amount of funding over this time period. As much as we would want to dream as big as possible, it's the reality in our life. We can't just sound the alarm. That's the noise we hear when we are not fiscally constrained, when we are planning way beyond our means. If we're only going to receive X number of dollars, we have to make sure that the projects in our document meet X number of dollars. None of our communities any good if we dreamed too big and ended up having to cut things later on. We'd end up in a far worse off situation. So there has to be a grounded reality-based element to our planning. And Stephen has done a great job with that here and continues to keep an eye on the dollars and cents. Demonstration of air quality conformity. So Stephen kind of got to this a little bit too. In some of our elements pay particular attention to this, like CMAQ, the congestion mitigation and air quality. We have programs that address certain aspects of that. That's not just improving congestion on a roadway. That's things like our air quality monitoring and forecasting program. That's similar to Ohio Commute, our platform that allows people to find carpool partners or smarter commute modes that are more air quality sensitive. And then the last bullet point on the left there is it reflects a broad set of public and stakeholder input. I led off by saying that we ran an interactive and creative public engagement to really pull out the values and the goals, what's important to the people here. Because, you know, if this was just me doing this in isolation, talking to myself in the mirror every night while I put this plan together, I wouldn't be able to come up with the things that are to you. So this is our way to say, hey, let's know how to do this work. We can do it the best way possible. And side, if I had to break this project down into very easy bullet points, engagement number one. Cannot stress that enough. It's the most important for me. It's why I like being here nearly every month with all of you, but it reflects in documents these because it's so critical to make sure. Data collection and analysis. We lean very heavy on the US Census as well as our state and federal partners that collect data and run modeling and analysis for us. And that makes it into this document so that we can help communities make transportation decisions. And that's our, if I had to underline one line in a sentence of what we do at Eastgate, is we help our communities make transportation decisions. We can't make the decisions for them. That's not our job. It's not our role. It's far outside of our scope. And it'd be a disservice to everybody that lives in the valley, in our region, if we were the ones making these decisions. It has to come from the communities. Third bullet point on recommendation development. So after we crunch the numbers, what are we saying communities should do? What are we saying we as Eastgate should do? That comes out in this. Then lastly, documentation of federal requirements, which is actually the most important part, because if we do not do this, we do not get certified, and these lights shut off, and we all. So I said we were at the draft document stage. So we have a draft document. It is at this moment very text heavy and unformatted. Essentially, the document exists in only the text portion of make it into the final. So you'll see things like the executive summary, the introduction, regional trends, the goals and funding and implementation and monitoring sections in that document. We are opening our review period this coming Monday, April 10th. So we'll send out a public notice. It'll be included in the meeting summary information that I send out. It includes our website will be updated where you'll be able to find that draft document and kind of dig through it if you need something to help go to sleep tonight. or Monday night. That's a great place to start. And then we'll be running that public comment period for 30 days. So we'll be back here next month, beginning of May. And I'll have a more refined draft that will be formatted. It will be much prettier, easier to read. Some of the stuff will be pared down and simplified in a way that makes it a bit more digestible. It'll have all the charts, maps, tables, and formatting in it. And then we'll wrap up our public comment period May 10th. So you'll have a little bit of time after our next CAB meeting to dig in one more time and really let us know if there's anything you notice out of that document that's critical for us to change. After our public comment period, after we get through the final draft and we have you all review it and tell us what needs changed in there, we will present this to our general policy board on June 5th for adoption. Once the policy board adopts the plan, we can then start what's called our air quality conformity review process. This is a procedural thing where we work with our federal partners at Federal Highway Administration, Federal Transit Administration, ODOT, EPA, to review this document. Look at all of the projects in there, look at our environmental justice work and analysis that we've done, and ensure that there are no negative impacts on air quality as a result of the projects included in this document looking out to the year 2050. Once that air quality conformity review is finalized, the document will be officially accepted as the implementable long-range transportation plan for the Eastgate planning region. And then the hard work starts because we need to make these projects happen, right? So we need to connect them to funding sources. We need to make sure the local communities are following their required processes in a way that is fair and open, meets all of the requirements as set by those funding sources. So pretty quick review of that. But like I said, the information related to the draft document and the public comment period will be included in the meeting summary and the follow-up from this meeting. So keep an eye out for that. If you ever have any questions on the MTP, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to talk about it and explain it in any terms and try and simplify that. But I'll run through the next couple things on the TAC meeting summary agenda item. And then from there, we can move on with our meeting. So after that, Kathy gave an update on the ARC program. Just a big piece here is the 2022 Appalachian Ohio Return on Investment Report is now available. The report highlights accomplishments of the Ohio Appalachian Program as a combined effort for local development districts. We do have some hard copies of the report in the room. The report is on our website. If you go to the news section, you'll see this heading on there. And I will link the document in the meeting summary. Following that up, Stephanie Dyer gave an announcement of the upcoming funding round for Clean Ohio program. And they are changing from from program years to fiscal years, which isn't really an important thing, but it's more of an administrative cleanup effort on their end. So more information about that program will be coming out, and I think that would be a good presentation at this group in a future month. After that, Grant Taylor from our office gave an update on the EV charging infrastructure plan. So that document is out and is available. It's on our website. There's a very cool interactive element to it. The plan itself is interactive. So as you scroll, all of the maps are dynamic and have data that you can click and dive into. What this plan does is helps communities identify areas that are highest priority for placing electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So as communities are seeing these federal and state grant programs that make money available to chargers, communities now have a plan to point to say, hey, our MPO did the work and we should get the points on our application and make us better candidates to receive this funding. We also do have some printed reports. If you need access to that in any way, please feel free to let us know. Make sure to get that to you. Stephen gave a very similar presentation, although a bit more abridged at the TAC, and you guys got the full blown nuts and bolts of the tip development. And then lastly, Ed Davis gave an update on the Ohio Public Works Committee program, which has a new upcoming round 38. It's a new funding round, and then they'll be electing new officers. So that was everything at the TAC. If there's any questions, I can answer them now, or feel free to.
Thank you, Justin. Appears that tech have this done today.
Oh, yeah.
Might be a board discussion. Is there any topic that we want to address?
There was nothing from last month, so.
Nothing to follow up on. We have 3 resolutions to address. Looks like they're all procedural.
Sure, so I'll read the titles. And then if you all, in the room and online, the updated agenda was sent out, so you all should have the resolutions. I'll read the titles. If anybody has any questions or wants Stephen to explain anything in a deeper, he's the perfect person to do it. I think these are all yours. I'll do it. Sure. Yeah. So Policy Board Resolution 7 is a resolution of Eastgate affirming that the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and approval of the Transportation Improvement Program is consistent with the state implementation plan. Resolution 8 is a resolution certifying the urban transportation planning process of the Eastgate Regional Council of Governments. And Resolution 9 is a resolution of Eastgate to revise funding policies and programming restrictions for the fiscal year 2024 to 2027 transportation improvement.
So as Justin alluded to, and I'll just give a quick overview of what those 3 are. As he alluded to, they're all 3 a part of the 2024 to 2027 draft tip document that I discussed earlier. These are part of the requirements that go into it. There's certifications and review processes that allow us to be an MPO, make sure that our ducks are in a row, that everybody's doing what they need to be doing to get that document to finalization. It's really formalities. Nothing changes over the time. It makes sure that we're up to date on, the new bipartisan infrastructure law that was passed, and any recommendations, requirements as an MPO there. So nothing really changes with it. Nothing really gets affected by it. It's just kind of formalities as far as what's required as approval for our documentation. So happy to dive into those. There's not a lot there, but thought it was worth a quick explanation. Kind of what they are.
Yeah, and in terms of voting on these, as always with these, since we're in this hybrid setup, I will send these out to the CAB board members after the meeting with a poll option and allow you to cast your votes that way. And you'll have the full text available.
Let's skip over right to the announcements. You want to address this?
Yeah, so in the agenda, you'll see just a couple. In the agenda packet, you'll also notice a flyer for broadband Ohio listening sessions. So those are going to take place in Eastgate's office, April 20th. And you'll see the time ranges they have on that flyer. 10:30 to 11:45 is for businesses and ISPs. 1 to 2:15 p.m. is local government. 2:30 to 3:45 is for nonprofits and community organizations. And from 4 to 5 p.m. is for Ohio residents. That section is open to the public. So if you are interested in attending that, mark that on your calendar. It should be really good. It's Wait for Broadband Ohio, which is a state agency to collect feedback from people related to internet and high-speed internet access directly from you. So this is a great way to provide that input on our community, which is fantastic. The Appalachian Regional Commission, their state fiscal year 2024 pre-applications are now available. If you are a part of an organization or an entity looking to apply for those funds, there is a workshop. April 21st at 10 a.m. There is a link in the agenda to learn more on that. a little plug here, if you know anybody that's interested, we're hiring at Eastgate. So there's some information, that posting is on our website. Feel free to share that with anybody you think may be interested. And lastly, our annual meeting, registrations are open. The link is there in the agenda, as well as I think in the email that I sent out. We'd love to have you there. So consider attending that on May 17th.
Okay. Next, do we have any announcements from our board or from our guests? Anyone online? Hearing that, any other comments or questions we'll discuss today?
I actually have some very general questions, and I don't want to take up time on anything because you're looking for something specific, but I say towards the close of the meeting, I'll raise my hand right now, but I'd like to bring up some just, because I'm kind of ignorant of this stuff. I don't know very much at all. I understand this quite good here, but with your talking, I didn't really go over it. Tell me when it's an appropriate time for me to ask. Right now?
You got it.
Well, you said, Steve, in closing your talk that we're all working here to make this a better place. And it kind of gets back to one of my basic questions. This might take about 45 minutes, by the way. Where are you guys from? I mean, are you located here in Mahoney County or Youngstown or?
I'm from Hubbard all my life.
No, I mean, your working positions, are they here?
Oh yeah, right in this office. Yes, all three of us.
Because I know Justin was saying that we came in for this meeting. I thought you came in from someplace else.
No, Justin and myself, we both have worked here at Eastgate for 10 years, right in this office. We actually started on the exact same day. As I mentioned, Joey's our GIS intern from
Yeah, I
July.
didn't want to get into
Works here as well. Yeah.
the details there.
No, that's
Just
just a
in
question.
general, but I didn't know if you guys were locally or your office locally or someplace else. But from my understanding from what was going on here, the majority, maybe even the great majority of the money, the 127, 140, I can't remember, million, that's a pretty good chunk of change. Is that locally, the majority of it, or is it from Mahoney County or so, or is the majority of it from like the state of Ohio or from the federal government?
So the best way for me to give a quick breakdown of those things, there's a lot of funds that run through ODOT, and actually a vast majority of that 146 million is applied to Interstate 680 from Interstate 80 all the way to South Avenue is getting a full-blown reconstruction in 2026. Huge dollar amount, big pot of money that's administered through ODOT. In general, to talk the dollar amounts that are funneled through Eastgate on a yearly basis, there's three pots of money: our congestion mitigation air quality program, our surface transportation block grant program, and our transportation alternative program. Those three in any given year combine for about $12 million. This is what's available funneled through Eastgate as the MPO to equally and to the best ability of us, from our citizens, from our members, to distribute amongst the two-county area. So that $12 million is an important number as far as what's administered straight through Eastgate and into that document. That's what the communities can apply for on a given year.
But is that revenue collected here in Youngstown or Mahoney County, or is that federal or state?
So those are strictly federal dollars. That's
So
through.
just give me very quick numbers. 50% from federal, 10% from federal?
So those three pots are federal dollars completely. What occurs on a project is those work towards 80% of the project cost. Local commits 20% to the project cost. There's different funding sources. Justin mentioned Ed Davis from our office doing the OPWC.
Let me just back up. I don't want to make this too complicated. I said 45 minutes. You're going to make it an hour and a half.
Okay.
You had the number up there, 127 million or something what it was. Just tell me, is that 50% federal or 50% state?
100% federal. Because those dollars because those dollars identified there are federal dollar sources. There's local money, there's other dollars that are attached to it, state funds that are attached to it, not what's identified specifically in that document. To not get into it too much, there could be a project that has federal dollars, has state dollars, and has local dollars. Those all get identified. The federal dollars are what we're looking at because that's what triggers a project to be identified in the document.
I think I can understand that. And the reason I'm coming with these types of questions here, again, from my position of ignorance here, I'm trying to understand in a very broad way. We all know that when dollars come from outside, there's also requirements and regulations that come in from outside as well. And I'm sure, I suspect that your organization has some type of mission statement or even a vision of some sort for longer term. What I'm getting to, I might say to the root of the question is, do you guys in your vision or your mission statement here see a time when Mahoney County, when we ourselves will be able to provide all this money, we won't need to get help from outside people? You're charging Peter to pay Paul over here. So is there something, or do you guys see your thing as something as like an eternal project, or is there something where we in Mahoney County here in Youngstown in this area could become more self-sufficient and not rely on tax dollars from California or from Oregon or something to pay for our needs?
I think to answer the question is not in this sense, in the dollar amounts that run through our agency. There's certainly the gas tax dollars, the state tax dollars, everything else that's getting distributed to the county.
Well, I'm just talking about the money that was up there on the board that you said is the federal money that has strings attached to it, and that are being taxed from people in other parts of the country, but we're benefiting from that.
No, I don't know if you have any
Okay.
different opinion.
I get the general picture, and I know I sound very skeptical, and I am skeptical, but I try to keep an open mind right now. That's why right now I'm asking these very basic questions. Who's paying for this?
And the big difference there, and one thing to keep in mind is Eastgate as the MPO, because of the city of Youngstown in that urbanized area, based on that population. So if you just take Ohio and take your Columbus, your Cleveland, your Cincinnati, they have MPOs as well. 12 million, theirs is 112 million. So it's all based on that population. So yeah, there's certainly different aspects that, some are paying more here, some are receiving more here. That's beyond what we
When
do.
you say some are paying, we here in Mahoney County are getting a lot more money in than we're probably paying ourselves, yeah?
I'm sure in some aspects. I'm sure there's others that,
You've been answering
No.
questions like this for a while, haven't you?
no, I just enjoy all the questions and I don't know, not a good answer there.
Well, I want to personally just say thank you for coming out and doing this.
Oh, and don't downplay yourself. You clearly have a lot of knowledge there. And we're all always happy to talk into any more detail as you want.
Any other comments? All right, with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Everybody have a safe and happy Easter. And we'll see everybody on May the 4th, Star Wars Day.
That understand?